Hi, and welcome back to the channel, guys. We are continuing the Pacific. This is episode 8, titled Iwo Jima, and that is definitely a name that I've heard before, or a location that I've heard of, and we even talked about it a little bit in the last one with the statues, and we've
The
been
flag
there
racing and all
exactly,
that.
yeah, and we've been there and seen it in real life
Yeah.
actually. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And in the last one, we got the end to the big Peleliu arc, and it unfortunately ended with Agag dying. So that was a real fucking tough one, both for us to watch, of course, but also very much for the people there, for the Marines, losing an officer like that. That's going to be a big blow to the morale. And even someone like Gunny Haney, he was too much for him almost as well. And this, some of you guys were telling us that I'm sorry that he was like, this was way worse than anything I experienced during World War One. This is bad. This was really bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And the bad part about Peleliu is that no one really got to hear about it. I mean, Peleliu, battles at Peleliu, no. Iwo Jima, yeah, we all heard about that. We heard about the flag raising. But Peleliu was very hard fighting as well, but it got overshadowed by the fact that MacArthur landed in the Philippines at approximately the same time. So no one really heard about it, but it was hard fighting for the Marines, as you could see. And I think the acting last time was perfect with the coming in and going out, and the faces and the 1,000-mile look, as some wrote in the comments.
Yes, very
So,
much. Yeah.
and I would like to just repeat myself again with all the comments, the small stories, and the reference to the different stuff on the internet. I really like that. Thank you very much for putting it out there, and thank you for being overbearing when I word fumble or I mumble or I even turn the map the wrong way and mess up with north and south and so on. So thank you for being nice out there. I like that very much.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for always being so nice in the comments and everything, and giving us so much extra information about this whole thing. That's always very, very nice to read.
Yeah.
But I think we're ready to jump into it. Or
We can do that, and
Yeah.
we can just put Iwo Jima on the map. It's going to be put on the map in a bit as well, but just put it on the map in the way that the fighting at Iwo Jima is now we're coming into a Japanese homeland, so it changes a bit because this is actually a part of Japan, and U.S. attacks a part of Japan. So a thing called honor comes into it. They do want to defend that place. They do want to keep it. They do want to show the U.S. Troops that if you try to attack our homeland, we will defend it to the death. So we expect some heavy fighting there as well, and we'll talk a little bit more about Iwo Jima afterwards, I think.
Yes, and we're gonna get into the maps this time around. I know I teased it in the last video and we didn't get to it, but this time we will get to the maps, and they will pop up on the screen and everything. So before I lose my ability to speak, let's just jump into the episode. And you can of course always check out our full-length reactions where you can sync up the footage with your own copy of the episode. We also have early reactions for Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's all over on Patreon, and the link is down in the description below. And here we go.
We didn't get on the map this time.
No, we didn't. Threw out a book.
Agag's book.
Oh, hold on to that one.
Heebie-jeebies. It's hepatitis and you don't have it. I'll catch a fever, then turn inside out through my asshole like Carson in Love Company. And check out my eyes, Jay. They look yellow.
I just got transferred out of King.
We seen you in the funnies, and that's just what happened.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Johnny. Tell us about the night you killed all those Japs. Remember? You're out in the jungle.
Wow, that's stiff.
So fake and yeah.
fighting was in 42 and they're closing in on 45, so
He's been doing this for a long while.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they're showing the passage of time pretty well with Basilone. Like at first he was kind of enjoying it when first we checked in, and then we could see that he was, realizing that this is not really what I wanted to do, and now he's fed up.
Let me help them the way I know how.
Sergeant Basilone, you make me proud to be a Marine.
Thank you, sir.
So he's gonna get to train people instead.
Yeah.
That was a Tarawa. No war bond drive for me, though.
Maybe you want
I
the
guess
hero.
it's good to have another combat veteran training.
Company! Fall in on your racks.
2 guys.
The jet bullseye charges right there! They're coming, damn it! Hurry!
They're gonna be the best trained
Marines, yeah.
two-guy company.
Yeah.
Oh, and he looks even better in person. And here he comes.
What's her name?
Sergeant Lena Riggy. Every Friday, our skills catch the 6 o'clock train to LA. Just in case you're interested.
Maybe.
He was, apparently. You don't see trains like that anymore.
Nope.
I have to go for some good design.
Look, LA is full of girls for a guy like you. You'll do fine. Happy hunting, Sergeant.
Ooh, crash and burn.
Well, now he's not gonna want anyone else but her.
Yeah, I guess that's how it works.
You go. I'm thinking of joining the Navy. Looks like it'll just be the 2 of us.
They got a private room. All right.
Don't worry, Sergeant Basilone. Dinner was delicious. Thank you.
Lena, I did something stupid. I'm sorry.
You didn't do anything a million other guys haven't done. You just did it in a nicer room.
I'll be replacing Captain LaFrancois, who went AWOL while on liberty.
Oh,
How are the men shaping up?
okay.
Yeah, he was started
All
being
2
there.
of them?
The rest of the company comes in today from main side.
Ooh, he's got a crush on her.
Yeah. It's nothing if not persistent.
Maybe some other time.
How about breakfast? The KP reports 0530. I show 0500. Show up a little earlier. I'll make you French toast.
You got yourself a date. He's beginning to see that, okay, it's not just because he wants to, roll around in the sheets and then that's it.
I think he had enough of that.
Yeah, he's been sowing his wild oats. Now he wants something real.
So sick of this shit. Just want to get out there and slap a Jap.
Excuse me?
A Japanese soldier doesn't care if he gets hurt or killed, as long as he kills you. Now, you can call them whatever you want, but never, ever fail to respect their desire to put you and your buddies into an early grave. Is that clear? That's right! Gear up! 10-mile run! In formation! In 2 minutes!
Damn. I kind of like that he's so stern and, real, just, disciplining them.
Morning after the battle, my guys cooked up the coffee over a fire of green coconut logs. Wasn't any part of me that didn't hurt. But when they handed me that cup of coffee, I never tasted anything so good.
Sitting in this diner. My pop walked in, sits down beside me. He ordered 2 cups of coffee, and he put the milk and 1 sugar in for me. That was the best I ever had.
It's not the coffee, it's where you get it.
Yeah.
You might hear this all the time. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
No, I hear that very often.
Must be a uniform.
women weren't allowed to do any sort of fighting or anything like that back then, right?
You weren't allowed to, or what?
Yeah, women, they weren't allowed to.
No.
Oh, okay.
You can shoot and move with this. Let me show you.
I couldn't hit the side of a barn with that thing.
You better start practicing.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go in the water.
I have to say, this episode is not going the way I thought it would.
No,
I thought we'd
not
be
that
spending...
kind of fighting.
No. Thought we'd be spending more time on Iwo Jima, but yeah, again, it's not over yet, so I'm sure we'll get to it. But hey, he was persistent, he took his time, he was nice, he was a gentleman about it. That's how you do it.
Gunnery Sergeant John Basilone has decided that home can wait. He will be joining us. Carry on, Gunny.
So he's going to Iwo Jima.
I think, yeah, that's why they waited and showed us all of this.
I said, is anybody scared? You lying sacks of shit.
Yeah.
It's good to be scared. It means you're awake. You're ready.
So that's how they get Iwo Jima in the series, because first Marines didn't go to Iwo Jima. Fifth dead.
Every enlisted.
I'm in for the duration plus 6 months. I know how it goes, Sergeant. So, where do we go from here?
Get married. I also think like we went back in time, so to say, and that's why, because we were talking about he's been gone for a while. He's been doing this for several years, but he said I've been doing it for a little over a year. So I think we went back and then right. I guess we haven't had one of these scenes in
a while. Yeah,
a few episodes. So
other kind of fighting.
I would say if you're fighting while having sex, you're kind of doing it wrong, I guess. Depends on what your kink is.
Yep.
As long as there's consent.
We're gonna have 6 kids.
It's a lot of
that's a lot.
No boys for you to pamper. No girls for me to drive crazy.
Now he really has something to
maybe rethinking
fight
his
for.
Maybe rethinking his choice.
Okay,
February 19th, 1945.
Going straight into it. Holy shit. That was some contrast going from that very tender scene to this fucking shit.
Actually, the landing was unopposed.
At Iwo Jima?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got to the beach, but going up from the beach was like entering a killing zone.
Ah, okay. So that's what we're seeing now, probably.
Yeah, all the mortars and all the artillery had pre-assigned lines of fire and so on. So.
Oh, they are getting slaughtered.
Yep. Very graphic.
Yeah. Damn. And that's something that I can easily show on YouTube, you know. Legs getting blown off and people looking like hamburger meat. But when someone flashes a tit, no, I can't show that.
No.
Come on, you guys. Jesus, fuck.
Kill the bunker! Give me a rabbit team! Get your charges ready to move! Captain, up here! Go!
Yeah, cover fire and then throw in something that will...
get some explosives in there.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Ah, damn. Oh. Okay. Oh, yeah, he knew they were gonna come out the other side. Yeah. Damn. That's so hardcore.
See trenches and pillboxes all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Oof. Nice.
Good catch.
Yeah.
Japanese plane up there.
Hmm. Basilone is really leading the charge.
Do not leave this position, come hell or high water! You understand? I got it!
Hello. Okay.
They have trouble with getting through the sand.
Yeah.
Or the ashes. It's more like ashes.
Yeah, it's a volcanic
yeah.
island. Wait, what?
Yeah, they kind of was building up to that.
Shit. Yeah, once again, did not know he was not gonna survive.
As I said earlier, this is where R.R. Martin gets its ideas.
Yeah.
Just whole episode building it up and
war in general, just yeah. Damn, yeah, fuck. That was a lot went on. I feel like that episode was just we saw a whole arc there pretty much, like a beginning and an end during one episode, and didn't really check in a lot with Eugene and the others. But yeah.
It was like there was one episode for Basilone. This one was for him as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Just pointing out the place where he would end his life, which was Iwo Jima.
Yes, and yeah, once again, I had no idea, so didn't expect it, but they were, as you said, kind of building to it with everything going on in this episode.
I looked it up, so I knew he was
going to go down.
He was going to go down.
At Iwo Jima as well. Yeah, okay. We didn't get a lot of the fighting
no,
on
it was...
Iwo Jima or at Iwo Jima, like besides the last 10 minutes or something, really.
But it was, again, built up around Basilone and just touched on the other guys in the beginning. But apart from that, there was just a flashback for Akak with the book, and then more or less they were left alone, and we concentrated on Basilone and his, as you said, his story arc.
Yeah. It was very much like we've checked in on him a couple of times during the previous episodes, and seeing him doing the whole thing with the war bonds and selling them, and him kind of growing a little bit anxious and not really, getting satisfied by that whole thing. So and then they really did a deep dive into that whole story arc in this episode, and we spent the majority of the time with John Basilone, seeing him getting more or less back into it, starting training guys again, and then deciding I'm going to re-enlist, all the while getting into a romantic relationship with this woman that he then ended up marrying, and had all sorts of future plans, and that just just twists the knife a little bit more there.
It was all in there, getting to know him a little more and having that love scene, getting married and all that, and then just finishing him off like that in the end. But it showed the fighting at Iwo Jima, at least. I mean, that was a heavy fighting.
Yeah, holy shit. That looked chaotic as fuck. And just, almost even more grueling than what was going on in the Peleliu Hills.
Yeah.
It's just, the Marines dying all over the place, and the fighting Japanese who are dug in pretty well, and they've had some time to prepare, and especially now that they are, this is, as you said, part of Japan.
This is Japan. It's off the coast of Japan, of course, but they want to send a message that if you try to get to the homeland, we will be dug in and we'll be fighting till the end, fighting to death. And also the changed tactics on Iwo Jima compared to the other places. I mean, they didn't get any opposition while getting the troops in there. But as soon as they got to the beach, they couldn't really move because this sand, or more like ashes, it was impossible for the Amtraks to move through, more or less, and tanks couldn't get through. So it was by foot all the time. And all the area where they got in on the beach, they were already pre-assigned for mortar and artillery fire from the Japanese. So they were ducking very well, and they also did the cave thing and the tunnel thing, as we saw on Peleliu, but even better.
Yeah.
And there were like 20,000 Japanese soldiers on Iwo Jima, and they were fighting for the homeland, so they didn't give up. I mean, they all got killed, more or less. 200 or so survived. The Japanese, the rest died. So died fighting.
Yeah, we didn't even get to see the whole flag racing or anything during this episode, and it looks like in the next one we're gonna go to Okinawa, and then we're gonna be following Eugene and them again.
I'd actually expected to see the flag racing, just a flash of it, more or less, because as I said, this flag racing at Iwo Jima, someone said at that time, this will define the Marines for the next 500 years. So that's why you have the statue and you have the picture known all around. And there's a lot of talk about, there was actually 2 flag racings. The first flag, which is the small flag, someone said, let's get it up there. And then they got it up there, and the guy was supposed to take pictures, was taking pictures of other stuff or whatever. He didn't get a picture of the flag going up. And then the story goes, the 2 guys, one said, I want that flag because that's my flag up there, and so many trophy hunters want that flag. So I want that flag, and by the way, get a bigger one. And another general or admiral or something said that I want a big flag up there for all the Americans to see the colors up there. So there was another flag racing up there where the photographers were ready to take the pictures of it. And someone is saying it's not the real thing, but it doesn't change the fact that the flag racing at Iwo Jima kind of defines the Marines. They got up there, they got the flag up, and as soon as they got the flag on top of Mount Suribachi, the story goes, you could actually hear the Marines. They could see the flag up there and go, "Ooh, yeah," and shouting. It's like
and then that turned the tide. A little bit, maybe,
well, normally it's at the end of the fighting that you put up the flag and say, "Well, we're done by now." But this was a morale booster for fighting up Mount Suribachi and taking care of the Japanese that were dug in so well.
Didn't get to see it in this one, and maybe we'll have to check out what were they called, like these 2 movies by Clint Eastwood. He did Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from or to Iwo Jima, where you saw it from both sides. I actually haven't seen those, so
me neither. So but I'm going to take them up on that suggestion, and
Yeah.
maybe we can watch and react to it, or
Yeah, maybe.
at least I want to watch it. So
yeah, definitely. It could be fun to get into more stuff like this, like after the Pacific. But first, we still have 2 more episodes to go with the Pacific, and this was once again a great episode that was kind of all over the place, and we got to spend time with at home, like just doing stuff like being with the family and going out to eat, and then with the training, and then at the end with very heavy fighting, and ending with John Basilone getting
very
killed.
graphic as well. This whole setup, so
very, very graphic. And I know I made the comment there that you can always show people getting killed in the most horrific ways, but as soon as you show anything like just resembling a boob or a naked person, it's just like, no, that's too much. Can't show that. But yeah, it's more natural. Either way,
it's a good way to show the hardship of war, and there's nothing great about stuff like that. So it's good to show it like this. I mean,
yeah, there's nothing glorifying really about that in a sense, with the killing and the horror and everything. But it is something that these guys they had to do, and they endured, and
part of war, and
it really is. It's it's a part of it.
We promised to get into the maps. It's just going to be a short thing about the maps, but before time runs out, I could keep on talking about Iwo Jima and what happened at Iwo Jima. But I think we should just bring out the map, put it on the map, what's happening, and
let's
then
do it.
Just the whole Pacific campaign. I think it's very interesting, and it's fun to look at from a map perspective. So I'll explain on the map down here, and Sonny will put the map up there and make the picture a lot better for you, because it won't be me on the picture, it'll be a map.
yeah.
So,
you'll see it in a sec.
The whole map here, the first one that I put up, is just some of the faces on the Pacific campaign. What I like to show on this one is, well, there's 2 campaigns, more or less. There's a southern one called MacArthur's campaign, going up to the Philippines, and then from there on up to Japan. But it was MacArthur one to get back to the Philippines. And the other one, the middle one, it was the Central Pacific one. That was Nimitz going through the island hopping. The Marines would be on more or less a little bit on the southern one, and then on the central one, and then back on the southern one, because they were supporting each other, these 2 combat lines going forward. And I think it's, again, great to see on the map that you have 5 different points on the way to Okinawa on this series. So it kind of makes sense when you see the map together with the series here, and you get a good picture of the landings along the way. And here I want Sonny to put up another map, because another map kind of shows all the different landings from Guadalcanal and forward, from 1942 until 1945. It shows in a nice way that there was a lot of landings on the way. It was hardship getting there, and there's a lot of learning on the way on how to land troops, work into the different islands and so on. So
and even do the island hopping, because that was also more of a new thing and a new way of doing it with the whole campaign. And this map, it really opened my eyes, at least, to this was a big endeavor. Like, we've only seen a few of these landings, like a handful during the actual series. And then when you look at the map and you see like just how many there were, it's pretty daunting to look at.
And we will switch back to the other map and look at the point where Iwo Jima is at. You can see it's a bit off the main coast of Japan, but it's still close. And another reason why they want to take this, I mean, they talk about, did we really have to take it or so on, but from a strategic point of view, it did make sense. On Iwo Jima, there was some radars that could pick up U.S. bombers on the way to the mainland, so they could have fighter escort on the mainland to take them, not fighter escort, fighters to take down the bombers because they were arriving without fighter escort. So take out the radar station there and those 3 airfields on Iwo Jima as well. So
okay, that's why you saw all those planes,
down planes, yeah. And on the way back, when the bombers were flying at the maximum range of what they could, the U.S. bombers. So halfway back, they could go into the ocean around Iwo Jima, and they wouldn't make it back. If they had a landing site there, they could land the bombers on the way back. So it kind of makes sense. And from a attack point of view, later on going to Japanese mainland, they didn't have to because the A-bomb. But if they had to go there, Iwo Jima would have been a great staging area for setting up attack on the mainland of Japan.
Yes. But as you said, they didn't get to that.
So that was just to put the map up there. Sonny will probably remove the map at some point along the way. Well, apart from that, again, a great episode, and not as much fighting as I was expecting because I knew about Iwo Jima, and as you said, everyone knows about Iwo Jima and heard about it, and Mount Suribachi and Marines fighting the way up there and getting the flag on top. So I was expecting a little bit more on the landing, but again, it was a Basilone arc, more or less.
Yeah, it was more of a, like, instead of calling the episode Iwo Jima, maybe they should have called this one Basilone, but yeah, this was more about him than Iwo Jima. That was just the place that they were going to, him and his battalion and everything, and the guys he trained. So it was maybe more of a coincidence that that was Iwo Jima was part of this episode, but it wasn't the focus point. That was Basilone and his arc, and him falling in love, getting maybe just a little glimmer of, okay, there's a future there for me, and how I'm gonna balance, being in the military or being in the Marines and having a wife and kids and everything. And then they were just building him up just to take him away from us. Even though it's based on real life events, of course, but
but still they built a series around it, so it what makes it good.
It's the narrative structure of this episode. It was very as you said, Game of Thrones, like building someone up and taking them away from us.
Getting us to really like the guy and then killing him off.
Yes, exactly.
It happened a lot during the Game of Thrones, but
very much.
But I'm looking forward to all your comments and all the stuff to this one. Probably some good stories about Iwo Jima as well, things you can find out there, and links to YouTube videos and so on. I'm really getting into this, so thank you. And I like the small stories. There was a small story about falling asleep instantly and falling asleep while being with the instruction and so on. A guy wrote about it.
Oh, I saw that as well, and then standing up and everything.
Falling asleep and nodding his head, and when someone just shouts out his name, he just slowly puts his head up and go, "Amen."
Yeah.
That's a great one. Amen. Yeah, no one can say anything about it, and he was praying. Right.
Yes, of course you are. Amen, dude. Amen. Now go get some sleep. That was a good one. Looking forward to the last 2 episodes, Okinawa and Home, I think the last one is called. So that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching, as always, and we will see you very soon. Bye.